Okay, Tom Quinn, Efuel CEO, he's going to set it straight on what kind of alcohol we're going to turn into fuel to power, well, anything we really want. Tom, I mean, do you want to kind of fill us in on exactly what kind of alcohol we can use in our homes and how do we transition that to ethanol?
Yeah, basically alcohol is the form of organic fuel, and anything starch or sugar-based, which means could be any plant materials, beers, wines, distilled liquor, and what have you, are suitable for conversion into ethanol fuel.
Okay. Tom from Efuel Corporation is the CEO there, and he's joined by Chris Ursides, the CEO of GreenHouse, which is an Efuel Corporation distributor. So having both of you guys together, this process, I think, intrigues a lot of people. Most people don't know anything about it, and we kind of played it up as kind of a joke, but it obviously is growing, and there's going to be more of this as we look for a lot of alternatives. How does the process actually work, start to finish? Maybe you guys could walk us through it.
Well, we've recreated the fuel structure like a fuel refinery system. Everybody's probably driven by a gasoline refinery area, and we've invented a machine that actually consumerizes that whole process. So it replaces the gasoline refinery area and the local gas station. It's a consumerization, if you will, of the fuel system. It starts right here. This is where the organic fuel tank is stored. Will be delivered to your house, and it's filled up right now of actually discarded wine. So wine is an excellent source because it has some alcohol in it. And the machine right here, which looks like a gasoline pump, is called the Microfueler. The Microfueler takes this organic waste, puts it into here, and it's refined through a distillation system, stored in there, and then it represents a fuel tank with a dispensing system, just like you'd have at a normal gas station.
But why would you do that?
The only fact is you're not going to swipe a card.
I mean, how many of us have extra alcohol around our house? I mean, you know, to get rid. I don't. I mean, I just don't have. You know, I don't know. I mean, how many of us have extra alcohol to do that?
You don't have enough at your house. What's happening is we're aggregating as GreenHouse. We're taking and bringing together all of the discarded waste of the world, which we're finding to be in the millions of gallons. Billions. Yeah. Billions of gallons, probably equal to the amount of oil barrels that are being consumed. We are finding this waste everywhere. 20
million barrels of oil are being consumed today. We're having that much waste, you think, supply out there of just alcohol?
Yeah, let me add to that. The United States says that 50% of all of our agricultural products are discarded.
Right.
That turns into several billions. You're talking like 50 billion gallons of fuel. This is the big story. No one's recognizing that the United States in particular is generating the most waste in the world of organic fuel.
Now, we should be clear, guys.
We take it for granted for people.
Tom and Chris, that it's not just alcohol, right? I mean, what are the other wasteful products that can be turned into fuel? I mean, what are the most common?
Your lawn, for an example. You cut your grass almost on a weekly basis, at least here in the California. That can be turned in. Fruits and vegetables that they're thrown away. Normal waste sites like your garbage company, the one in California, just one of them out of many, is discarding between 3,000 and 5,000 tons of organic material a day that can be retrieved by distributors like GreenHouse to put into our machine to make it into fuel. One example, that one disposal site in Sunnyvale that I'm talking about generates 560,000 gallons of ethanol per day for organic material. So it's quite fascinating when you really start to explore how much waste is all around us, and it's always going to be where people are at, and that's where people use fuel.
Well, you know, I always like to call this the last mile. For all the research that's being done out here in the world right now with algae and the cellulistic methods of refining and just taking the liquid waste that's out there, we're taking this last mile and connecting it to the consumer, which has been the disconnect with the ethanol model. And being able to then refine it, and we've blown up the entire model of where it's being created, distributed, and consumed, all into one location. So why would you do this? Because, first of all, it turns the car 85% cleaner immediately, and it's working inside of our infrastructure that we have in the world today. Cars already can accept ethanol, which has been not widely known, that you're already getting 10% alcohol in your gasoline at the local pump. And we are working with all the flex fuel vehicles and so forth and staying inside of all the manufacturers' regulations and specs.
ASTM specs.
But also the other thing that's important to note is that when you're going through the distillation process and you're creating fuel,
right,
the byproduct here at home is water. We're creating in Southern California, that's huge for us. So this tank here, think of this, half of this will be fuel and half of this will be water. And we can collect that and sprinkle it out in the lawns and the gardens and take care of other water needs we have, because it's distilled water is what you're getting out of this. It's separating all of the sugars.
A third component is all the rich nutrient sludge that comes from this, but this is a fertilizer that's very healthy for any of your plant life. And so there are three components, and Chris is right. It's something that you can hook up in minutes. This literally, the system delivers, you plug everything in, and commercial ethanol can't compete at this level because waste is something that's accumulated by the density of the population, and they always put these plants outside the population. We can get to where the population is and make that more competitive and affordable for everybody.
Okay, Tom and Chris, I think we learned a lot there. Tom Quinn, Efuel Corporation CEO, and Chris Cities for the CEO of GreenHouse. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.